YouTube channel. Hey everybody, welcome back to part 2 of the series of the year, series of 2019, the series that I watched, series that I want to discuss, give little tips and tricks to you about what to go and watch. Most of them on Netflix and one or two of them on Amazon. I don't actually think any of the others are on Amazon, I'm afraid, so if you've got Netflix then the next 4 for you are absolutely brilliant. Now, quickly getting into it, let me whip up on Netflix So, getting into the first series I want to talk about is 13 Reasons Why Season 3. That came out in 2019. As far as I'm aware, I've already talked about the first two in last year's episode. But Season 3 takes a bit of a different turn. Even from the trailer, you know what's happened. The thing that 13 Reasons Why do is they tell you what happens at the start, and the whole of the series is what happened to the build-up of that. And the whole of the next season is basically what happened at the end of summer, or what happened at the end of next year. This happened, and this is how we got there. Season 2. Season 3 starts with finding out that Bryce Walker not only died, but was murdered. He was murdered. We know that. I don't think they know that. Whatever. He was murdered. So, the whole of Season 3 talks about, the thing with 13 Reasons Why is it really does. It's not necessarily about the actions or the consequences or the reasoning behind certain actions that is the main focal point of all the story or all of the series. It really is about character progression. It really is about learning about each character and not necessarily the intention of their actions, but their internal intentions of life. And, why they made a decision, not why they made a decision, but why they made a decision. So that really doesn't make sense, but it's all about not why they chose to do something. No, it's not why they chose to do a certain action. It was the fact they chose to do something. It's a lot of the mystery and just progression of the series. Anyway, Season 3 was no different. You learn that, obviously, in the first two, you learn that Bryce Walker was this rapist. He raped plenty of girls, and he was a bad guy generally. He had his own struggles. This is what you learn: that he didn't have the best relationship with his father. His relationship with his mother, whilst was better than his father, still wasn't brilliant. He didn't get on with many people. He drank, did drugs, didn't really want to be himself. That sort of shit. Anyway, you also see the fact that many other characters, whilst they could see this, did nothing about it. Also, those that you didn't think would have an effect on Bryce did do something about it, or tried to do something about it, were rewarded or unrewarded, if that's how you want to talk about things. You also see Clay meet a new girl, fall in love with a new girl, act around with a new girl, that sort of relationship mould. But you found out she actually had close relations with Bryce, and whilst Clay couldn't control this girl's actions with Bryce, there was certain things there that he did warn her about, and all this, that and the other. And so, like I say, you know what happened at the end. You just don't know who killed him. And it isn't until the last sort of seconds that you do find out. And was I happy with the outcome? Yeah. Was I surprised? No. Am I excited for another season? Yes, because they left a big, big cliffhanger. Am I confused at certain character progressions? Definitely. The relationship between Jessica and Hannah's mum. The one thing that gets me is the fact that they took this story so far away from Hannah Baker, which was the whole sort of first 2 seasons. It's both good and bad. They needed to do something different. They couldn't just focus on something that happened when Hannah was alive. They do need to push it on and make it its own season now. And don't get me wrong, I know it is based on a book, so I don't know whether that's part of what happens in the book or whether they've gone, it was a big hit series based on the first book. Let's just do more series sort of things. I couldn't tell you, but quite impressed with the series. Like I said, with the character progressions, I liked how Jessica's. Well, I was a little bit confused with how Jessica and Hannah's mum reacted to each other and spoke to each other on a regular occurrence. Really, really confused about Hannah's mum and Clay's relationship. You know, if you've seen the season, you'll understand the phone call. I'm wondering why that was even to Clay and not anybody else in her life. You know, it didn't necessarily have to be Clay that she rang. I guess it was just another sort of mystery plot that they could add in there, but it just seemed a bit, to me, whether that was from a book or from the series itself, I'm not too sure. Definitely, what's the Italian guy's name that always, the not Italian guy, Mexican, Puerto Rican guy? Him, you know who I mean anyway. His sort of character, whilst is definitely mysterious, and that's the whole point of him, is to know that he's more than likely done a lot of bad things. He somehow knows how to handle all these bad things, like getting rid of weapons and, you know, hiding bodies or whatever it is, or just really like laying low and going off the grid. The whole point of that is the mystery. Yet at the same time, he seems to have no loyalty to anyone, and that annoys me in a sense. Because the whole of the first 2 seasons was about him being loyal to Hannah, making sure people heard this. It was about not taking things too far with certain people. Yet this one is just complete opposite. He wasn't loyal to Clay. He didn't speak to him when he needed to speak to him. He didn't go to him when he should have gone to him. Which, yes, is a personality, not personality fault, but was like a fault of the character, not the storyline. It still seemed a little bit odd that no one knew what he'd gone through, but Hannah Baker's mum of all people. It was just a bit strange, you know. Anyway, moving on. Yeah, definitely go check it out. I do rate it as a very, very good season. I wouldn't rate it as good as the first 2 just because of a few minor faults, but I'm still looking forward to where season 4 can take it. The spoiler at the end definitely shows that there's going to be a season 4. So, and I mean, it bangs views, I'm pretty sure, so, yeah. The next, we have The Society. Now, this one, for me, was one where it came out. I'd heard a lot about it coming out. There's plenty of trailers for it everywhere, so you couldn't miss it, and I knew that when it came out, I'd watch it. It's something that piqued my interest. Now, The Society is about a group of, I'll say a large group. It's like a whole schools. There's like 3 school buses that go on holiday. Well, no, don't go on holiday. They go on a school trip. Leave their parents, and you know they're all on this school bus. Something goes a bit weird. They get back to where they originally left. And everyone was like, oh, okay, that's fine. What happens? So they get back, they try to ring their parents, no cell service. Turns out they are completely on their own in the county or city or whatever you want to call it that they left in the first place. They then send a team of expeditioners to try and go right to the edge of where they can, which is just their city borders or county borders. You know, you go over a bridge and it's just like forest. So the whole point of this is becoming a society, hence why it's called The Society. A few people try and take charge and say, look, this is what we need to do. after like a few raids of people think, right, shit, we're going to need to eat later, let's go and raid the shops. So they go and raid the shops, yet people go, well, I've got no food now. So these people that have to take charge, and it really does like build from the base up of civilization sort of thing, except it's the modern day version of that. Was it a good series? Yes. Was it intriguing? Yes. It piqued my interest completely. It's something that I was quite interested in, seeing how, like, the unfold of events, and really seeing how different characters interacted with each other. Do I rate it? No. I think that there are major issues with it that I'm not going to go into detail because it's been a while since I watched it. I just remember being very disappointed at certain aspects and certain parts. You know, the whole point of that girl fighting back because the two lads abused her. I'm not being funny, love, but you did something bad. Yes, don't get me wrong, they abused her, but why then make it more of a political, like, the whole point of this was to make like a split party. You know, you had the one people that were just like chaos in a way, they just wanted to run riot. There was more of a conservative group, that not the Conservatives, not the Tory, but more conservative with, we need to find land and build farms, and you know, that wanted to really take everything back to basics so that they'd survive, because they were on the understanding that they don't know how long we'd be here. Yet for some reason this other girl was just like, they didn't really need to make it so political when it's only 30 people on each side. It was just a bit stupid. In my eyes, the whole point of it was just a bit. And so, a few different sort of plot twists here and there that were very, very good, don't get me wrong. There was some that were just a bit. On that, the ending. What the fuck was that ending? It was so. The two major points of that ending were, oh, well, I didn't see that coming. That was them two. Then the last bit, the actual like fading out clip, was just like, what? I am so confused right now. Maybe that's a good cliffhanger. Maybe it's just a bit shit. So, I don't know, if season 2 comes out and it does well, and the cliffhanger makes sense to more people, or they really do something with it, then fair enough, but otherwise it's just like a bit shit, isn't it? Even if it's, are they going to do a season 2? Let's Google it. The Society season 2. Don't get me wrong, it was a good season, and there were so many good characters in it. There were just so many plot twists that I didn't like. Maybe I just didn't understand it well enough. The digital spy just say it'll be out sometime next year. They haven't got it yet. Hopefully. Oh wait. It's coming 2020, so it's coming at some point this year. Anyway, moving on. We have Travellers. Now these next two are ones that I don't think came out last year. I mean, I'm 100% positive they didn't come out last year. But are ones that I watched last year. First one, Travellers. It's about a technology that's built way into the future. That, in that future, inevitable doom's happening that's completely irreversible. Okay, what happens between two sort of rival parties in the future that we're still unclear about, leads to inevitable death of everyone, death and destruction sort of thing. So the technology that they develop allows these people called the Travellers, which are basically like super agents, if it were, to go back in time and take over control of a person's body moments before they're about to die. So they never willingly take over someone that's actively alive, but they take over someone that's just about to die. Okay? So it's ethical in that sense, you know, they were going to die anyway. Not only have we allowed the people around them to be happy to know them still and carry on living their life with them, but we're also helping ourselves in the future, you know, so that sort of element of it. Anyway, that's just basically how they work. They're then programmed to, they have these portfolios about their character or their human that they control. Not that they're not human, but about their skin. They have to lead their ordinary life to the fullest. They have to stick to the script as much as possible. They can only deviate if it means doing something that will alter the future reality. Okay? So, do you know this whole thing about don't go back in time and change anything because you'll affect the future? And a lot of the time travelling sort of sci-fi films actively try not to disrupt anything. The whole point of these is to disrupt something, which I think is a really good spin on sci-fi and travel sort of series and films. Anyway, I watched sort of like the first couple of episodes and was fully engrossed in this. I was like, this hits everything. There's a bit of action every so often. It's sci-fi, it's mind games in a sense where you've got to think, right, by doing this, this will do this, and then that'll do this. It's also very relationship and drama-esque as well. In occasion, there's specifically one character who this girl really struggled for most of her adult life. For most of her life up to adulthood. She never spoke to anyone. She basically had no development in her speech, ability to communicate. Anyway, she goes outside of the library that she works at and gets beaten up by these thugs. Moments before she dies, she wakes up. Now, these super agents have the abilities to bring back with them, like, the skill set that they have, you know, the muscle memory, that sort of stuff, because it's just the brain transfers. It's basically like a brain transfer but sent to the past, if that makes any sense. So, she then wakes up, beats up these kids, carries on. Now, this girl that was basically underdeveloped in terms of speech communication can now speak fluently, can speak multiple languages, and for the sake of having to do things for this mission and for the greater, not the greater good, because that's hot fuzz. They say for the greater good, but whatever they call it in Travellers, she can do everything that anyone else can, if not more. But she has a therapist because of her underdevelopment, and he goes, huh? Because he finds her talking and just acting and just, you know, acting as if anyone else would, and he's like, you haven't been able to do this. There's no way that you can just suddenly get fixed like that. Then, so she has to play dumb and say, actually, I think I can get in the hang of it. They then go for brain scans because it has to be part of her records that she's better now, because she's currently under not care, or she's within care of the state. He has to go check up on her. And then, as you can tell, this is my favourite character from it. You can tell that she passes all these tests and pretends that she's fixed. Then later, a few things happen, and he finds out that she's working for this secret organisation that he's not meant to know about, which usually results in termination of the person, or of the person that found out, sort of thing. So, to stop anything being spread, but he like plays it cool. They get authorization that he can stay alive as long as he doesn't really affect future missions sort of thing. Anyway, them to actually start falling for each other and fall in love, whatever. That's cool. I like that anyway. There's another character who takes over the body of a heroin addict. Now he's known as a historian. His job isn't to really like, beat people up or go on missions. His job is basically to provide funds. There are certain ways that he can, play stock markets, because his whole job in the future, his brain in the future, was all about recon. Documents, looking at things that happened at certain specific times. He can say, put a bet on for this horse, put $1,000 on it, and you'll be coming out with $1 million. That then funds the people's rents, everything like that. Because although they'll go to normal jobs, they'll have to take time off to go on missions and shit. And then, but he is a heroin addict, so he uses a lot of that to really fund his heroin addiction. Now his dealer becomes a little bit suspicious of where he's getting all this money from, and he says, I'll play the stock market. So he starts paying this guy to, because obviously if he keeps putting these bets on, he keeps winning the lottery and shit like that, people are going to find out that something's up. So he uses this junkie, this dealer, to place bets on certain things and take a split of the profit. Say you take 10% for every bet you put on. And this guy's like, because he's a dealer, he just wants more and more money. So he goes, okay, I'll give you a drop of heroin, and I'll help you do this if I get 10% plus a bet. So you have to tell me something that wins. I'm not telling you how much I'm putting on this. So anyway, it gets a bit shady in that sense. That's the whole sort of shady, mysterious side of things. Later on in the way I'm talking about the Travellers makes it seem like one series. There's multiple series. Let's have a look. I can't remember how many I watched, but I watched them all. Travellers. Don't play it. I want to see. There's 3 seasons. All like 10 episodes a season, so that's 30 episodes. This, for me, 100% my favourite series of last year. I'm going to come out and say that. It ticked every box that I enjoyed. There was that sci-fi, like, backwards travel of time travel. There was the how to influence the future without influencing it in a bad way, but the way you wanted. There was the whole drama and relationship sort of side to it. There was the deep, dark, mysterious side of it where you don't know actually what happened in the future. You don't know this, you don't know that. And so for me it was a wow, this just ticked every box for me. The character progression and the character roles and the way it was acted was class. And although it wasn't actually made last year, just an excellent series or franchise for you to go and watch. So I thoroughly recommend that one. Anyway, Frequency is the next series. This is very, very similar in terms of sort of time sci-fi-esque. Not sci-fi, fantasy-esque. Not fantasy at all. Sci-fi, scientific. So, Frequency is a little bit more... how can I say this? It's a little bit more down to earth. It's a lot more... How can I describe this? It's a lot more basic. It's not this whole, there's a whole thing in the future that needs changing in the past. In fact, it's the complete opposite. I'll say middle-aged, she's in her 20s. A woman that's really looking for a big break in the police force. She's working, her partner is the same partner her dad had. However, her dad's been dead years. He was a police officer too. He worked this case to its death, and never got to the bottom of it, and ended up working different cases and getting killed, unfortunately. She's now the partner of his old partner, and is that sort of relationship, a bond between them that's brilliant. Anyway, in her garage, she finds this radio. She turns it on, and she starts listening to the person speaking to the other side. Assumes it's like a podcast or just a radio broadcast. Turns out that's her dad, but that's her dad in the past. They can speak to each other through this radio, because it's a radio with voice, like sort of things. What do you call them? Walkie-talkie-esque things. A microphone. There you go. So this whole thing comes about where she goes, "Oh, what date is it?" And it's a couple of weeks. I don't know, a couple of months before he's due to die. So she's a bit like, "I know what happens to you, but I can't tell you because that may change something." Anyway, he says, "Oh yeah, I'm working this case." She goes, "I remember you working that case." She goes to work. Turns out there's a new lead in something that she's found, and it may be related to the case all them years ago, because there's certain things and certain calling cards that's been left by this killer. And she's like, he's still out there and he's still doing what he's doing, so we need to catch him. Maybe we can catch him in the past. So she works with her own father, but in the past, telling him, this person died on this date, you need to find out what they know. These are some things that you may have missed. I've spent time looking through your old notes. Obviously, his and her partner, that are in two different time zones, are working with each other, and get a little bit suspicious of why she's digging so far into this case, why she really suspects he's part of this. Is it just because her dad worked on this case that she's pinning it all on this? Maybe it's the time of year, this, that and the other. And although they never ever get to meet each other, it's still something that's absolutely fantastic. He, when he's in need, leaves clues in the back garden of the house that they still live at, and says, I've just buried this here, dig it up. And because he's buried it in the past, she can go and dig it up and it will be there. This is a photo that no one knows I've got. Somehow you need to say that you found this at this date and this date, and it shows this and this. It's so sort of like you have to really focus on. Well, you don't really have to focus. But it was one of those, I was on holiday, I found this, I downloaded all the episodes before I went on holiday. Went on holiday, had a day outside where I could just... In fact, how many series? I think there's 2 series of this. Frequency. Yeah, anyway, so they obviously know that they're talking to each other from different time periods. Is there only one season? Wait. Season 1. Frequency. Season 2. It's official, the CW axed freshman dramas frequency. This is 2017. No. Oh, Riverdale got the go ahead for a season 2. So this was competing against Riverdale, so there's no. But apparently there is an episode that I need to watch that really brings, because it left it on a massive cliffhanger, which was peak. But apparently there is like an epilogue, season 2, episode 1. Let's see if I can see this. No. I'll see if there's like an extra episode. An epilogue or an episode to this, just to really tie it all together, because it's been cancelled. But honestly, watch the series and you'll understand why it was so good and why it does need. Maybe you didn't get the views when it originally came out. Anyway, I hope you guys have enjoyed this 30-minute long episode. Sorry, this was like almost twice as long as the first one. I genuinely didn't think I'd talk about these series in detail as much as I have done, but I hope you guys enjoy this, and I shall see you later. Good.